Good afternoon, everybody. First off, I'd like to start by thanking Chad Griffin, Jeff Creeley, Vinny, and everyone at the Human Rights Campaign for putting together such an important conference. The True Colors Fund is truly honored to be a sponsor and a conference partner. HRC is really a second home to Cindy and to me. The Human Rights Campaign continues to be a source of inspiration for Cindy to further her work to help LGBT youth and the community as a whole. And for me, I'm a proud alumni. Having worked at HRC for almost 8 years, I know firsthand how fortunate our community is to have such fierce and unwavering advocates working on behalf of the LGBT community. When we started the True Colors Fund, Cindy and I saw a significant void that we knew had to be filled and elevated to a level of importance that the situation dictated. That void was a national organization to solely address the issue of LGBT youth homelessness. As many of you may already know, in our country, up to 40% of the 1.6 million youth who are homeless each year are gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. 40%, that's about 640,000 youth per year. When comparing that 40% number to the average of about 5 to 7% of the general youth population that identifies as LGBT, we have to acknowledge that we are facing an epidemic. We also have to acknowledge that the most commonly cited reason for these young people's homelessness is family rejection. For far too long, the issue of LGBT youth homelessness has been swept under the rug and not given the attention that is needed on the national level. So, in 2012, we launched the 40 to None Project to fill that void and to build a national movement to bring that number of 40% to none. And we started off with this PSA.
In America, up to 1.6 million youth are homeless each year. Up to 40% of them identify as gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender.
Most of them have been thrown out of their homes or run away out of fear and rejection.
It's time for things to change.
America's next generation needs us to stand with them so they can stand on their own.
Get informed, get involved. Visit 40tonone.org.
That PSA is just one of the things that we're working on. Thanks. And I just want to say Cindy wanted to be here personally. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it, and she wanted me to send her best. That PSA is airing on national television and has aired on national television for the past year and will continue to do so. Now, if we're truly going to bring an end to LGBT youth homelessness in America, we need to build an inclusive, safe, and affirming system that addresses the problem comprehensively. We need a system that has actually provided enough funding and resources to meet the growing need. And most importantly, we need a system that values prevention and early intervention as much as it does crisis response, which is the primary system that we've built in this country out of necessity. There's a network of incredible shelters, transitional living programs, drop-in centers, street outreach programs, and other providers who operate on shoestring budgets in comparison to the need and the number of youth who need to access their life-saving services. This is a need that is only going to grow for LGBT youth unless we start to reach families and youth sooner, before the crisis occurs in the home that sends the young person to the streets. We need to inspire a fundamental shift by investing in and testing prevention and early intervention models that tap into the vast array of systems that LGBT youth interact with, most importantly schools, as well as our healthcare, foster care, and juvenile justice systems. We have learned from the very first prevention effort specifically targeting LGBT youth and their families that was recently piloted in New York City, as well as many conversations that we have with homeless youth providers around the country, that we may only really have a short window of time to keep a young LGBT person in the home or reunify them with their families. Once a young person enters the runaway and homeless youth system, the chance of reconnecting them with their families becomes a much greater challenge. While there will always be LGBT youth who will need access to safe and affirming out-of-home care due to deep divides in their families, we can significantly lessen the number of youth who must face that divide. Building this comprehensive system that values prevention, early intervention, and inclusive, affirming, responsive care equally is central to the True Colors Fund and our 40 to None Project's work, but we need your help. While this is a significant and complex issue, as Cindy always says, and I won't try the New York accent, LGBT youth homelessness is a fixable problem. It really is, as long as we all work together. It will truly take a collaborative effort across multiple sectors that include homeless youth providers, educators, social workers, counselors, government officials, funders, and most importantly, families and youth themselves. Everyone at this conference plays a vital role in the lives of LGBT youth, and personally, I'm truly in awe of what you do each and every day. So I'm inviting you to join with us in our efforts to end this epidemic. I invite you all to join our 40 to None network, which is bringing professionals and youth working on or interested in addressing LGBT youth homelessness together. The network is about building bridges and collaborations. It is about ensuring that the latest information about and resources to address LGBT youth homelessness are profiled and shared with everyone. It is free and simple to sign up for. I invite you to visit our table in the back and to learn more about the network as well as the many other programs of the 40 to None Project. We can really ensure that no young person is homeless again due to their sexual orientation and gender identity and expression. We just need to do it together.